On this edition of the Victor Ayara Show, my guest is an accomplished music producer, Ben Obi. Born in the UK to Nigerian parents, he lives in the United States of America, where he uses his experiences from 3 different cultures to make world-class music, helping artists to fulfill their dreams. He studied marketing at the University of Minnesota, Twin Cities. Hello and a very warm welcome to the Victor Ayara Show with me, Victor Ayara. You might be wondering where I am to start with. I am in a music studio somewhere in Minneapolis, in Minnesota, and I will be talking to a British-born Nigerian music producer who happens to live in America, making music. I'm seated in the studio of someone who is very talented, who is very creative and gifted, who has helped a lot of people realize their dreams of making an album. Welcome with me on this edition of the program, The Victor Ayara Show, Mr. Ben Obi. Thank you so much for letting me sit with you today, Ben.
How you doing?
I am doing great. How about yourself?
Fantastic. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I believe when I came over to the U.S. to go to college, I went to the University of Minnesota, and I ran into a guy. I was already dabbling with music, and I ran into a guy who happened to be from Nigeria, and me and him just clicked. He was into music too. Me and him just clicked, and we just started making music together. And so that's when I really just went full on into it. I used to do music, but I don't really look at what I do as music.
Okay.
What I do is I help artists accomplish their goals. That sometimes involves music. It might involve, psychological things that artists need to get their mind right. It might involve, management. It might involve certain education. Music is a big part of it, but it's not necessarily only about music. It's really about helping people live their purpose. That's a great question. I don't know if I've really asked myself that question specifically, but what it is for me is that I'm living my purpose, meaning that this is the only thing I see myself doing, and this is what I've been doing for the last 20 years. So it's, and I experience the most amount of connection and also joy and happiness in doing this. If I was doing something else, I've tried it before and it wasn't as fulfilling. So I found a way to make what makes me happy and what provides me the most peace and love, and I found a way to make that into my career. Talent, obviously. Talent is important, but the ability to be consistent over time is a very important factor. Because I've met a lot of talented people that are inconsistent. So I would take a person of lesser talent that can consistently do something over a period of time than somebody who's really talented and just flashes and then burns out.
Why do you think artists tend to flash and burn out? Why do you think that happens? Is it a question?
I think that's really what talent is all about. It's like as a producer, I do several things, but one of the things I do is produce music. As a producer, one of the things I aim for is to try and control that outburst of talent, and that really the creative process for me is you're receiving that, and so it's so powerful that sometimes it can overwhelm you, and it's like being a talented individual is really close to being a crazy individual, because who decides that they don't want to get a real job and they want to dedicate all their time to creating stuff out of thin air. That's a borderline insanity. But that borderline insanity is also what, if you allow yourself to really be free, that is what is where the genius is. I think the joy for me is in the creative process. So, I don't necessarily have genres that I deal with urban music. So the creative process and the challenge of creating something that I'm gonna like, the artist is gonna like, and the market we're going for are gonna like. That challenge is what really excites me, and so it could be on reggae, it could be on R&B, it could be on jazz, it could be on Afro pop. It could, since I've lived in Nigeria, I've lived in London, and I've lived in the US, I can tap. So I've lived in Europe, Africa, United States. I can, at any one particular time, tap from those. I can tap an Afro beat. I can tap into a Euro beat. I can tap into America. I have those, and they're all authentic to me because I've lived and experienced life in all of those three places authentically. So I can tap from any one of those sources, and it's authentic. So that's an advantage that I have as a producer. So there's no particular genre that I can say, oh, I love this one more than that, because they're all authentic to me because I've experienced all of those genres equally. I work with people that are much younger than me. I work with people that are similar age as me, and people that are much older than me. And what you realize when you do that is that there's one rule. It's like evolve or die. So yes, we can talk about what happened in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, but that was then and this is now. Like what my father listened to, I probably don't like, and what I listen to, my child is probably not going to like. So evolve or die. So, music is a living organism that evolves. So, what I may have liked growing up in the 80s and 90s is not necessarily something that a 10-year-old kid today is gonna love. So I have no criticism. Do what you love, focus on it, and do it authentically. That's all I say. It's very tricky, because at a certain stage of everybody's development, you don't really know if you have the necessary skills to make it or not. But one thing is for certain: somebody else may have greater talent than you, but you cannot let somebody else outwork you. So we all have 24 hours in the day. You have to choose how you spend that 24 hours. So my advice to new artists is that, you might not know if this is right for you, or if but figure out what you want to do and make sure you work as hard as possible at it. That's one rule. Second rule is consistency. Don't do something for a week and expect results. You got to do something. Think of yourself as a business. I don't know any business, legitimate business, that you can make millions of dollars you start today, and it has to be developed. We go to school, we get an education, we practice. It's talking like 5 years to develop a business. Developing as an artist, just because it's a creative thing, it's still a business. You have to develop that. And so a lot of artists expect results. They do something for 1 or 2 years and expect results. No. You got to do it for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, but you got to do it consistently and have a direction. Seek people that have been doing it before you and bug them. I used to be a teacher at the Minneapolis Media Institute, which is a one of the music schools in the Twin Cities, and I had several students, and I taught them music business, music business things related to copyright and understanding, intellectual property and so forth, things associated with that. How to navigate certain agreements, how to deal with third parties and all that kind of stuff. So I used to mentor them. I used to teach music mixing, and music production. So I had 3 courses I used to teach people. Everything I do is related to music. So I'm never working because I'm doing what I love to do. So so whether I'm teaching, producing, teaching is educating, producing is making music, or if I'm managing, which is consulting, it's all the same thing for me because I'm living my purpose. I'm never working. We're not interested in blasting our name so we can get more business. We're interested in building the artist. And when you have successful artists, that leads to good word of mouth business. So where we're going to be in the next, there are probably artists I've worked with that I don't mention because I'm not interested in blasting my name. But the people that I work with know, and they refer business to me. So it's not, where would we be? We would just continue what we're doing, which is working with artists. I have a project that's called the Ghostwriters, and that's essentially kind of what it is. We're ghostwriters. We're not going to be one of those companies that feels the need to shout about what we're doing. The people that know what we're doing call me on the phone, and if you're on that list, then you're good. If you're not, then there's some people that heard about something happening, there's some people that made something happen, and there's some people that didn't know it happened. That's how I look at it.
And this is where we call it a wrap on this edition of the Victor Ayara Show. My guest has been Ben Obi, the CEO of Savannah Street Music. You can check Ben's work out on SoundCloud. You can also visit his website, www.savannahstreetmusic.com. Please remember to subscribe and visit our Facebook page at The Victor Ayara Show. My name is Victor Ayara. Until I come your way with another inspiring interview, stay blessed. Bye-bye.